So we can see this is the head end, this is the clavicle. Okay, we can see the left side of the neck. This is the sternocleidomastoid muscle. This is the superior and the inferior bellies of homohyoid. This is the sternohyoid. This is the sternothyroid. The carotid sheath has been cleared. We can see the common carotid dividing into the external and internal carotids. This is the internal jugular vein. This is the ansa cervicalis. Then we can see the branches of the external carotid here. This is the superior thyroid. Then this is the lingual. This is the facial. Behind we have the ascending pharyngeal. Posteriorly we have the occipital artery. The superior thyroid is providing the branch here. Superior laryngeal branch piercing the thyrohyoid membrane, and accompanying it is the branch of vagus, the internal laryngeal nerve. If we note, this is the submandibular gland, and in the digastric triangle this is the hypoglossal nerve. Again in the carotid triangle you can see the same hypoglossal nerve, and from that this is the descendants hypoglossal. On this side we have the descendants cervicalis forming the ansa cervicalis. Alright, now if we in the posterior triangle here on the floor, right up here of the posterior triangle have the semispinalis capitis. Then we have the splenius capitis. Then levator scapulae muscle. Here we have the posterior scalenus muscle, or scalenus posterior. This is the scalenus medius muscle. Okay, and if we lift this is the scalenus medius. If we lift this sternocleidomastoid, and we can see the scalenus anterior. This is not part of the posterior triangle. Then if we note the nerves, this is the spinal accessory emerging from posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid going right into the trapezius. This is the this is the spinal part of the accessory nerve, and hooking it superficially is the lesser occipital nerve. Then these one is the transverse superficial cervical, this one. Below these two are the this one and this one and this one. These two are the C2 C3 nerves. Then we have the dorsal scapular. This is the dorsal scapular nerve. If you see, you can see the roots of C5 here, and then below the omohyoid we can see the trunks of the brachial plexus. Okay. Now if we have to see the branches of the subclavian artery, this is the subclavian artery. All right. See, this is the subclavian artery right up to here. Okay. From the first part we have the vertebral artery. This is the vertebral artery. This is the vertebral artery going above. Then this is the, if we remove the internal jugular, we can see the thyrocervical trunk. So you can see the thyrocervical trunk here, and it divides immediately after arising, giving rise to inferior thyroid. Then this is the transverse cervical and the suprascapular arteries. Then the inferior thyroid again divides into two branches, the inferior laryngeal and ascending cervical. Okay, here that's two branches. Then after this trunk, thyrocervical trunk, we have the internal mammary artery or the internal thoracic artery, this one. This is the internal thoracic artery, just opposite the thyrocervical trunk. And then we have this is the left side. So from the first part only arises the costocervical trunk that divides into two branches. Here you can see this is the costocervical trunk. Finally, this is the second part behind the scalenus anterior, and this is the third part, which is the lateral to the scalenus anterior, and from the lateral part we have the dorsal scapular artery. Okay, now we can see the phrenic nerve lying here in front of the scalenus anterior here, and being crossed by the transverse cervical on the left side. See, here is it is taking origin from the roots of C5, getting branches from C5 here. Alright, this is the phrenic nerve. This is the internal jugular vein. This is the common carotid artery, and so in between them in the sheath lies the vagus nerve. Now if you see further here, we can see this is the thyroid gland. Alright, this is the thyroid gland. Towards its apex, this is the superior thyroid artery, and going behind the apex is the external laryngeal artery. Okay, and towards the base we have the recurrent laryngeal nerve. It's emerging from the tracheoesophageal groove here. Okay, so this is the recurrent laryngeal nerve. And if we see here deeper to it, we can see the sympathetic plexus. This is the sympathetic plexus. So this is the sympathetic plexus, and here is the middle cervical ganglion. Okay, this whole thing is going down. This is the sympathetic plexus or cervical sympathetic chain.